Hello everybody, it's your boy Sablos, back with another one. And I know it's been a minute and stuff since I posted, so sorry about that, but I had testing and stuff, and I had to study the other week before for testing, and that's when December started, so yeah, I apologize. But you will be getting a lot more content from me soon to make up for that lost time. I promise we will end this month off with like at least 4 videos posted. But in today's video, we will be ranking the worst events for 2024 each month. We will not be counting December 2024 because we haven't seen the whole thing yet. And technically, I'm going by season. So since most of the season of Timeless Travels took place during 2024, the part that took place during 2023, I'm counting for 2024. So without further ado, let's start with January and get all the way to December 2023. Alright then, let's start off with the January. January was a pretty alright month for Pokemon Go during 2024. It was technically the start to the year, so they had to start off as strong as they possibly could. And in my personal opinion, I don't feel like this was a strong start to the year. If anything, I do feel like it did kind of represent the themes of 2024 with extremely good events. But I feel like contenders for worst event of the year has definitely got to be really just between Lustrous Odyssey and the New Year's event. Every other event was all right, and I guess the Dazzling Dreams event, because that event just didn't last long enough to really be considered anything amazing. But in my personal opinion, it's not the Lustrous Odyssey event. It is definitely the New Year's event. The worst part of the New Year's event is that each and every single year, it is just the same event every year with a new costume Pokemon. This year, it was a costume Jigglypuff. There was one year where we got the costume Hoot Hoot, but it's the same Pokemon spawns, pretty much almost the same bonuses every time and stuff. Like, it just doesn't change. And this year, it didn't change as well. All we got was one new Pokemon. That was it. Overall, this event barely changed. It was not long enough to really be considered an amazing event. And yeah, overall, it just sucked, man. There was nothing cool about it. It was just a bunch of shiny hunts. So with that, I believe that the worst event of January 2024 was the New Year's event. Now let's move on to February 2024. February 2024 was an extremely important month because we were getting Go Tour 2024 for Sinnoh. This event was an event people have been looking forward to since December of last year, technically. So we had been waiting 3 months just to get an extremely underwhelming event. I hope you guys know where this is going. But overall, we had some pretty cool events during this month and kept up with the theme of 2024 being constant good events. February Community Day was unexpected, but it was good. February Community Day was for Chansey. We got the Lunar New Year's Dragon Unleashed event, which was a pretty good one. We also got Hisuian Decidueye Raid Day. We also got the Love Carnival, the Carnival of Love. And then we had the Road to Sinnoh event, which was shockingly good. And it was unfortunately better than the Pokemon Go Tour Sinnoh event. I hate this event for a multitude of reasons, but I cannot get into all of them, or else this video will become a 10-minute rant about how bad the Sinnoh Tour was. But yeah, this event for a 8-hour-long event, 2 different days, was very underwhelming. It was very slow. It got boring at some points to the point where I wanted to stop playing. It felt like a normal day of Pokemon Go, but instead there was actual good Pokemon and raids that I wanted to grind. And it kind of just didn't feel special. So the worst event of 2024's February is going to be Sinnoh Tour. Now let's move on to March of 2024. This was one of the tougher months to pick out the worst event of the month because this month was just straight bangers. So just know that the worst event here, I don't even think it's bad and stuff. I just think it's just a lot worse compared to all the other events this month. And that is definitely gotta be the Weather Week event. The Weather Week event definitely did not live up to the full hype. And it also happened with one of the best con days of the pretty much year, in my personal opinion, with Lit in Con Day. So it happened around that time as well. So it was getting overshadowed by another event, what was going on. And yeah, just overall, it just wasn't anything crazy. We had came off of probably one of the best events we've seen in a while with the Pokemon Horizons event. And we were also leading up to 2 amazing raid days with Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. We were going to get Zarude back and stuff. We were getting the return of Shadow Mewtwo. We were getting a Team Rocket takeover. It was just so much going on. And compared to everything else, this kind of just felt like a random event. And it kind of felt like an event that was just there as a palate cleanser to kind of just have as like a chill, like kind of 4 days and stuff, like, you know, we can chill out and stuff before we get back to all the crazy events. But overall, this was an amazing month. This also is not me saying that the Weather Week event was bad. It is just not as good as the other events. Okay, everybody, let's get into April, my birth month. So if anybody wanted to know, I was born during April. But yeah, this month was pretty all right. Compared to March, I feel like it was definitely not as exciting. The most exciting part of the month was definitely the Mega Heracross raid day, and I feel like it was the last good raid day before we got the Lucario and Mega Rayquaza raid day, but we'll get into Mega Rayquaza a lot later. But more or less, I do feel like this month kind of sucked. We did have a Calm Day Classic, which was pretty good, and the Calm Day that happened was pretty all right. We got Bellsprout for the Calm Day, but the obvious worst event of this month was the Sustainability Week event. The best part of it was that it didn't really last that long, but even then it still sucked. There was no wild spawns, bonuses were pretty mid, and everything about the event was locked to eggs, and there was pretty much nothing really new that released for this event. We got no shiny Bound Sweet. We would have to wait the next month to get that. But yeah, the Sustainability Week event just kind of sucked. It was just not a good event. So I just have to put it as the worst event of this month because it was missing a lot of what a good event needs. Let's get into May. Okay, May is one of those bad months. Honestly, it was probably like the worst month to be playing Pokemon Go during 2024, but the worst event has got to be the Catching Wonders event. And I'm not gonna lie, we did have some good events throughout this month, like the Flock Together Research Day, Rivals Week, and the Ultra Space Wonders event. It was pretty good, but the Incense Day, the Community Day, and the Catching Wonders event, the worst event of this month, were pretty bad. If you couldn't tell, this month was definitely not a way to end off a season. I do feel like the season finale event, the Ultra Space Wonders event, was probably one of the best events we've seen in a minute. But overall, I do believe that they truly could have done better with the Catching Wonders event. There was no special spawns, no special field research encounters, no special eggs. It was just you can get Pokeballs and Great Balls. It's a lot easier to spin Pokeballs, and there's also a Master Ball research for free. Enjoy. There was literally nothing else, and the one bonus we had could really only be used twice during the event. I'm pretty sure you could only use the bonus twice or each day of the event, and it wasn't a crazy bonus, and you could only use it once. So it just wasn't anything special. It wasn't a good event. There was nothing cool going on. So overall, I do believe that this event could have been better, and it is indeed the worst event of May. June. I've been waiting to get to June. Let's cut straight to the chase. The worst event is Elite Mega Rayquaza Raid Day. Yeah, I know, what a shocker. This event sucked because there was a bunch of bugs, like the fact that Rayquaza would not spawn early, meaning that the eggs would not spawn early enough for you and your group to scout out technically where you want to play the event. Let's just say Rayquaza raids were pretty tough to take down. I'm pretty sure there was also another bug where like something would happen, but apparently it was one that got people extremely mad. This event was so bad they had to redo it, but they ditched elite raids and instead just made it like 3 to 4 different raid hours that would guarantee you Rayquaza raids, and it was a lot better than the other one which happened. And all I have to say is, holy, there's no way that they made an event that was so bad they had to redo it and ditch the original concept of the event. But we live in a world where Niantic makes constant mistakes, and this was definitely one of the best ways to make up for them. But this is the worst event of that whole entire month. Otherwise, the rest of the month is good, and I would have had a pretty tough time picking out the worst event if Elite Mega Rayquaza Raid Day was not here. All right, then let's get into the month to end all months, July. July for Pokemon Go was pretty good. We had Pokemon Go Fest, the Ultra Unlocks, Inbound from Ultra Space, one of the best events this year. Overall, it was a pretty good month. Even the Aquatic Paradise event, which is considered a filler event for this month, was pretty good, releasing Shiny Ducklet for all the global players. But still, we have one bad event here, and that bad event is actually horrible, probably one of the worst events we've seen, being July Community Day, which was for Dynamo. Nobody wanted Dynamo. I would have enjoyed more if they just released Dynamo during a more impactful event. I feel like dropping it on a calm day kind of made it a throwaway shiny. And then they did the same thing with one of my favorite Pokemon as well during October. But yeah, overall, July was a pretty good month. The worst event, in my personal opinion, has got to be that Community Day. They could have chose something a lot better, in my opinion, like Doramaka, or they could have done Ponyta early, or yeah. If you don't know, the reason why I'm saying this is because it lined up with the first Ultra Unlock, which was Better Together, which was featuring Pokemon with different forms. So I was thinking that they could do a Community Day during July that kind of matches that same theme. All right, then next up we got August. August is one of those months with no bad events. Adventure Week was good. Adventure Week Taken Over was good, I guess. And also the Shadow Raid weekend, which I'm pretty sure was for Lugia, was also pretty good. So, yeah, it was a pretty cool month, honestly. We had January Community Day Classic, which was for Beldum and stuff, and then the Community Day we got as well, which was for Pablo, was pretty good. The worst event for this month, though, is definitely the Triumph Together event. I mean, it's not a bad event, but it's just necessarily here, at least, the weakest event of the season. Not to mention that this is the event that's meant to end the season, but technically, when you think about it, the event that ended the season was Pablo Community Day, which community days are community days. They're not anything special, but they're also not anything extremely horrible, unless it's Dynamo. But it's definitely Triumph Together as the worst event of August. All right, then next up is September, one of the biggest months with the official drop of Gen 8, releasing the Gen 8 starters and a few new Gen 8 shinies. This was a pretty good month. We got Phalanx Raid Day, which was shockingly good, and we also got a few cool events, like also the Go Big event, which introduced one of the most innovative new features in the game, honestly, which has got to be Gigantamaxes. We would get a even bigger kind of event like this, which would be for Gigantamaxes the next month, but still, it was nice that we got the release of Dynamax Pokemon. But we also have the Psychic Spectacular, events like Oranguru and Basimian Research Day. It was just overall a good month with a lot going on, but there was no bad events in this month. And I would say there actually is no worst event of this month because none of them are really bad enough for that, but we gotta have the Legendary Heroes event as the worst event of this month. But overall, this is not even a bad event. It's just the fact that the event really didn't have too much going on. It felt like a repeat of the first event of the month. And overall, it just wasn't anything too crazy, especially compared to the event that we'd be getting after this. But overall, it's got to be the worst event of the month, but not an overall bad event. All right, then let's get into October. October was one of the best months with the release of Gigantamax Pokemon, the Halloween Part 1 and Part 2 event, which dropped more Peko and allowed for you to shiny hunt Spiritomb, and the Galarian Expedition event, which dropped the shiny Galarian birds, and the Research Day for your mask. This was overall a pretty good month, even having a Mega Mawa Raid Day, like I said before, also releasing the Gigantamax Pokemon, being Gigantamax Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, and Gengar, all in the same month. Yeah, it was overall a crazy month, but since this month had so many events, obviously one of them sucked. And that was the event that was meant to space out everything towards the middle of the month, the Magnetic Studies event. It was just an overall bad event compared to everything else, which was just amazing. So I'm kind of just surprised that we had a bad event in this month full of gems. So with that, the Magnetic Studies event is the worst event of October 2024. Let's get on to November, the second to last month. All right then, November, the last month of the year, and in my personal opinion, one of the best months of the year. This introduced a completely new event, being the Go Wild Area event, and since we are only counting globals and not in persons, that means we're only counting the global event, which overall I could make an argument for being the best event of this month. The obvious worst event of this month has got to be the Harvest Festival event. It was not a bad event, but it's just simply boring. Not simply groundbreaking, because that was truly an important event, so I can't label it as the worst event, but the worst event has got to be the Harvest Festival, because, like I said before, it's boring. Nothing happened, not even a memorable event, but hey, at least we got Shiny Smoliv. That's really all I remember. Otherwise, yeah, all the other events are pretty good or decent. Alright then, the last month that we're going over is December of 2023. The reason why we're going over December of 2023 is because this happened during the season of Timeless Travels. But since the season of Timeless Travels mainly happened in 2024, as most of it took place during January and February, I decided, okay, I'll count December of 2023 for this list of 2024 events, because this was technically what was setting us up for how 2024 would look. And it will be the same for next year, because I plan on making this a yearly thing. But moving on, let's get into events. We obviously had some pretty good events, like the raid day for Hisui and Samurott. We also had the Along the Roots event, Catch Mastery Ice, Adamant Time. Some pretty cool events, including the Winter Holiday Part 1 and Part 2 event. But the obvious worst event, which I could make the Winter Wonderland, but I'm not going to, is definitely the Along the Roots event. I do feel like this event was not that great. Overall, the only cool thing that we got out of it was Hisui and Sneasel was shiny, but well, it was pretty tough to get because it was locked to eggs. Not to mention that we also got Mateo on Roots, which, if you don't know, is infamous for being one of Pokemon Go's most underutilized and worst features. Overall, this event gave us a whole lot of nothing for a whole lot of nothing. It was just straight up the worst event of this month. I also believe that this month had some other bad events. More specifically, the Adamant Time event is definitely one of those events that I feel like could have been better. And the Winter Wonderland event was just straight up boring on a whole other level. I could have slept through the whole thing, yet nothing would have changed about my account. So yeah, with that, that's it for December. Alright then, so we're going to go ahead and finish up the video here with my top 5 list of the worst events in Pokemon Go 2024. Number 1 is the worst event, just so you know. And we're going to be starting off number 5 being Pokemon Go Tour 2024. Number 2 being Catching Wonders. Number 3 is going to be Sustainability Week. Number 2 is going to be Dynamo Calm Day. And last but not least, the worst event of 2024 is going to be Elite Mega Rayquaza Raid Day. So with that, it's going to be your boy Soblis signing out. Peace, and I will see you guys in the next one.